Picking a class in Ashes of Creation can feel a bit overwhelming, especially with 8 very different archetypes. In this video, I will quickly walk you through each primary class, how they play in PvE and PvP, their main strengths and weaknesses, and what type of player they fit best. We will go through all the classes. Let's jump straight in. Summoner. The Summoner is a pet-focused, flexible archetype built around commanding spirit vessels, damage over time, area damage, and essence management. Essence is generated by you and your vessel, then spent to command it to use powerful abilities. Summoners can fill tank, DPS, or support roles depending on the vessel and secondary archetype. Summoner in PvE. Very flexible thanks to Spirit Guardian, tank, Spirit Hunter, damage, and Spirit Mystic, healing, support. Brings dots, AoE, CC, and cleanses, with good uptime in longer fights. High complexity. You must manage your own spells, essence, and pet. Future balance may limit how easily you can swap roles. Summoner in PvP. Can adapt to the fight with tanky, damage, or support vessels. Has CC, dot Ts, teleportation, and cleansing for group PvP. Loses a lot of power if the vessel is focused and killed. Needs good team coordination and strong game knowledge. Best for pet class enjoyers and players who like being a battlefield commander rather than a pure DPS. Cleric. The Cleric is a radiant magic user who turns mana into healing, protection, and divine damage. They convert essence into radiant energy to heal allies, shield them, cleanse corruption, or smite enemies. They are all about sustain and saving fights that should be lost. Cleric in PvE. Best sustained healing and support in the game. Can smite while healing, cleanse debuffs, and buff tanks and frontliners. Essential in dungeons, raids, and long boss fights. Low personal DPS, very group dependent, and mistakes can wipe the team. Cleric in PvP. Priority target because healing and cleansing decide fights. Strong burst and sustained healing, great buffs and defensive tools. High impact in caravans, sieges, guild wars, and arenas. Limited mobility, relies on positioning and peel, not great for 1 versus 1 kill pressure. Best for players who love healing, support, and clutch saves at 5% HP. Ranger. The Ranger is a bow-focused, ranged damage dealer who fights from afar and picks off targets at a safe distance. They are described as death from afar and have sharp senses in natural environments. Their kit includes strong shots, snares, target marks, disengage, AoE, and tracking. Ranger in PvE. Strong single-target range damage with tools like Power Shot and Mark. Snares and control help with kiting and safe pulls. Disengage keeps distance. Good utility from tracking and control. Relies on kiting when solo and has less AoE than some magic classes. Ranger in PvP. High ranged pressure and burst, good slows and CC. Very good at kiting and punishing overextension. Very vulnerable if caught in melee or hard focused. Less group utility than Bard or Cleric. Best for players who want a high impact physical ranged class instead of a caster. Bard. The Bard is a support and utility archetype built around inspiring allies and disheartening enemies with music, song, dance, and storytelling. They are combat amplifiers, making everyone else stronger while disrupting the enemy. Bard in PvE. Great at buffing party damage and survivability. Can debuff enemies to make fights safer and faster. Sagas can massively impact big encounters and scale well in organized groups. Low personal DPS and not ideal for fast solo grinding. Bard in PvP. Extremely strong in group PvP. Buffs and debuffs can hit many players. Great support for melee trains and front lines. High team impact in sieges, caravans, and guild versus guild. Low kill pressure alone and becomes a focus target once noticed. Best for players who enjoy being the hidden MVP and making the whole team better. Mage. The Mage is a high-damage arcane spellcaster built around elemental magic, burst, ranged control, and spell synergies. They manipulate fire, frost, lightning, and teleportation to create powerful combos. They are classic glass cannons. Mage in PvE. High burst and sustained range damage with strong elemental combos. Great AoE for dungeon pulls and events. Teleport or blink helps with dangerous mechanics and repositioning. Very squishy, positioning mistakes are often fatal and resource timing matters. Mage in PvP. Explosive ranged burst, ideal for deleting overextended targets. Teleport-style mobility for escape, kiting, or chase. Elemental effects add soft control and setup for allies. High-value focus target, struggles versus gap closers if escapes are down. Best for players who love big AoE spells, burst windows, and a high-risk, high-reward playstyle. Fighter is a melee-focused frontline archetype built around gap closing, physical damage, momentum, and sustained pressure. They excel at closing distance, resisting slows and roots, and getting stronger the longer they stay in combat. Fighter and PvE masters of close combat, with strong physical damage and cleave. Gap closers keep them on bosses and priority targets. Momentum and perseverance help in long encounters. Limited ranged options, and they need good positioning to avoid extra damage. Fighter in PvP. Excellent gap closers to reach and pressure backlines. High burst and sustained melee damage once they are on target. Some resistance to movement impairing effects. Vulnerable to coordinated kiting and have low impact if they cannot connect. Best for players who love melee brawlers and warriors who stay in the middle of the fight. Tank. The tank is the frontline protector of Ashes of Creation. They draw enemy attention, absorb damage that would kill allies, and control the flow of the fight. They use taunts, pulls, leaps, walls, and damage redirecting shields, usually with a sword and shield. Tank in PvE. Best at soaking damage and protecting the group from lethal hits. Threat and taunt tools let them control who enemies attack. Pulls and leaps help start fights and position mobs. Wall and shield style skills control space and protect allies. Lower personal DPS, slower solo play, and high responsibility. Tank in PvP. Natural frontline anchor in sieges, caravans, node wars, and skirmishes. Gap closers and pulls can drag squishies into danger or peel for the backline. Strong at leading, target calling, and protecting the team. Low solo kill pressure, can be kited or punished if team does not follow. Best for players who like leading groups, protecting others, and controlling the battlefield. Rogue. The Rogue is a melee burst archetype built around opportunity, positioning, stealth, and using the environment. They are masters of opportunity, striking when enemies are exposed and using flanks and surprise for big damage. Rogue in PvE. High burst melee damage when attacking from advantage. Excels at dungeon delving, scouting, and exploring deep PvE content. Stealth helps with safer movement and setup. Close range mistakes are heavily punished, and sustained damage can be lower if you mismanage your openings. Rogue in PvP. Built for ambushes, flanks, and killing priority targets. Stealth and subtle movement let them choose when and where to engage. Great scouts in open-world PvP and sieges. Squishy if caught, relies on timing, awareness, and map knowledge. Best for players who love assassins, sneaky melee DPS, and striking from the shadows. That was a quick tour of all 8 primary classes in Ashes of Creation. Let me know in the comments which class you are thinking of starting with and which one you want a deeper guide on next. If this helped you, feel free to like the video and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.